Have you noticed how loud the world has become? Everyone's shouting. Opinions clash like thunder. Every scroll, every conversation, another storm pulling your attention. But some people, they walk through the noise untouched. They aren't louder. They aren't luckier. They're simply anchored. They've built something most never find, an inner stillness that chaos cannot touch. That's not luck. That's mastery. That's Stoicism. And today, you'll learn exactly how to build that mastery for yourself. Not through theory, not through fancy quotes, but through timeless Stoic habits, forged in hardship, refined by wisdom, and proven by time. This isn't a video about thinking differently. It's a video about becoming different. So take a deep breath, because once you understand these lessons, you'll never see stress, anger, or fear the same way again. Let's begin. The first battle is within. Every battle you face begins long before you speak, act, or react. It begins in your mind. When you wake up anxious about the day, when you replay old mistakes, when you plan for disaster, that's where peace is lost. The Stoics understood this. They didn't seek to control the world. They learned to control their response to it. Imagine this. You're standing in a storm. You can't stop the rain, but you can learn how to stay dry. That's the essence of Stoic mastery. Control what's yours, release what's not. You can't change the weather, people, or the past, but you can control your attention, your actions, and your attitude. Whenever life throws you off balance, pause and whisper, "This is outside of my control, but how I respond is mine." That moment of awareness is where strength is born. The power of the pause. We live in a world that rewards reaction, fast words, instant opinions, constant emotion. But reaction is weakness disguised as energy. The Stoic practices the pause. One deep breath between impulse and response. 1 second to remember. Do I want to feed chaos, or do I want to lead myself? That pause rewires your life. It breaks anger. It ends regret. It turns arguments into lessons. When anger rises, pause. When fear whispers, pause. When chaos calls, pause. A single breath can turn your whole day around. The compass of purpose. Without direction, you drift. Without purpose, every wind feels like a storm. The Stoics believed that peace comes from living on purpose. Not the kind of purpose written in a book, but one written in your daily choices. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? What values guide me when no one's watching? What will I not compromise, even when it costs me? Write it down. Keep it where you see it every morning, because purpose forgotten is peace lost. Purpose isn't about grand ambition, it's about clarity. And clarity, that's armor. Guard your gates. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought." So what are you feeding it? Anger? Gossip? Endless noise? You wouldn't let strangers dump trash in your living room. So why let them dump it in your mind? Guard your mental gates. Limit your exposure to the meaningless. Read more. Scroll less. Converse with people who expand your perspective, not drain it. Your peace depends on your inputs. Choose them wisely. The discipline of discomfort. Comfort is a cage that looks like freedom. It promises rest, but steals your resilience. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, your strength quietly fades. The Stoics practiced hardship deliberately. Cold showers, early mornings, fasting, not as punishment, but as preparation. They trained their minds to stay calm when comfort disappeared. Start small. Finish the last 10% of a task you want to quit. Walk when you'd rather scroll. Speak calmly when anger tempts you. Each act of discipline builds invisible armor. Each choice for growth over ease expands your power. Mastering the art of speech. Most people talk to be heard. The Stoic speaks to bring light. You don't need to fill silence. You need to use it. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is gravity. When you do speak, let your words be measured. Ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Will it make things better? Few words, strong meaning. The world listens differently when you do. Your restraint becomes your authority. Adversity as teacher. When storms come, and they will, most people panic, complain, or collapse. The Stoic studies the storm. He asks, what can this teach me? Every difficulty hides a lesson in disguise. Patience behind delay. Resilience behind loss. Courage behind fear. You can't choose your hardships, but you can choose how to use them. When you stop asking why me and start asking what now, you turn pain into power. Because the obstacle is the way. The two lists practice. Here's a Stoic exercise that will change your life. Take a sheet of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On one side, write everything that's outside your control. Weather, people, luck, opinions, outcomes. On the other, everything that is in your control. Your preparation, your response, your effort, your integrity. Now look at your list. Where do you spend most of your time and energy? Shift it. Pour your focus into what's yours. That's where peace lives. You'll realize that serenity isn't about changing everything. It's about changing your attention. Boundaries are strength. Stoicism doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means responding to it with self-respect. When people cross lines, don't explode. Define. Say calmly, this behavior isn't acceptable to me. Or, we'll continue this when we can both speak with respect. That's not weakness. That's leadership. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're doors with locks, protecting the peace inside. You owe no one endless access to your energy. Protect it like it's sacred, because it is. 10. Virtue over victory. In a world obsessed with winning, the Stoic asks one question. Is it right? Not. Will it make me look good? Not. Will people like it? But, does this align with the person I want to become? Fortune fades. Applause fades. Virtue remains. When you live by principle instead of impulse, you gain a quiet power that no setback can steal. As Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. When you focus on virtue, you stop suffering in advance. Be one of them. But silence isn't emptiness. It's medicine. Sit with your thoughts for 10 minutes a day. No phone, no music, just you and your mind. At first, it's uncomfortable. But soon, you'll discover something priceless. Stillness is where truth lives. In stillness, the mind resets. And when the mind resets, the soul breathes again. The world doesn't need more noise. 12. Gratitude, the Stoic shortcut to joy. Even in chaos, there's always something working in your favor, if you look for it. The Stoics practiced gratitude as a discipline. Not, I'll be grateful when, but I'm grateful even now. When you focus on what remains, instead of what's missing, you reclaim control over your perspective. Every breath, every sunrise, every lesson, gratitude transforms them into power. Gratitude doesn't erase struggle. It teaches you how to survive it with grace. Forgiveness, releasing the anchor. Holding grudges feels like control, but it's just carrying poison, hoping someone else gets sick. The Stoic forgives, not because they approve, but because they refuse to stay chained. You don't forgive for them. You forgive for you, because resentment takes your peace hostage. Release the anchor. Let the ship move again. Simplicity is strength. The modern world says, own more, prove more, chase more. The Stoic whispers, own less, live more. Simplicity isn't lack, it's clarity. You don't need 10 goals. You need one aligned purpose. You don't need 100 possessions. You need a handful that serve your peace. Every time you remove what's unnecessary, you create room for what's meaningful. That's Stoic minimalism. Strength through simplicity. The final lesson. Freedom through self-mastery. You can't control the world, but you can master yourself. And once you do, nothing can truly harm you. You'll still face loss, rejection, stress, chaos. But you'll meet them with composure instead of collapse, clarity instead of panic, peace instead of reaction. That's freedom. That's what Stoicism offers. Freedom, not from life, but from being broken by it. Be the anchor, be the calm, be the Stoic, and whisper, I am not the storm, I am the sky above it. Be calm, be still, be unshakable. Because calm isn't the absence of storms. It's the art of standing through them. If this message spoke to you, don't let it fade. Take one moment today to live it. Breathe before you react. Choose stillness over noise. Respond with grace, not impulse. And if you're ready to walk this path, comment below, "I choose calm." Share this with someone who's tired of chaos and ready to find peace. And subscribe for more wisdom, so you never forget who you're becoming. You don't need to wait for the world to change. You just need to master the one within you.